Hey, everybody out there. Welcome to week 3 of the Take Flight challenge here at TYWB. And this is our yoga hangout, our weekly yoga hangout. And I'm Amanda Rondon, the virtual engagement director. And I'm going to hand it over to Christy Seaton, our Take Flight yoga coach. So, Christy, why don't you tell us about this week's sequence and what about balance is so important to our practice?
Yes. Hey, gang. So we've been warming and we've been strengthening, and now we get to start working on some balance. So balance is obviously crucial to our everyday life, like walking and doing everything. We end up needing that balance. And so if we're practicing it now, then when we're tired or, at the end of a run or whatever like that, when you're like, oh, I just can't anymore, and your body starts to sort of give up a little bit, then you're going to have that inherent balance because we've been practicing it. So getting a chance to kind of explore balance in all the different poses in our sequence this week on both sides, the right and the left side, that's going to help us also tune into our bodies and get to know where maybe some imbalances in our bodies are due to previous injuries or whatever else is going on in our lives. And so balance is very crucial for just overall health and well-being and quality of life and all that great stuff. And the other kind of fun thing about balance is that it's going to be different every day. So like the day that I recorded our sequence, my balance was not very good. So I was falling all over the place. I think I was really tired. And so the nice part is, though, in balance, like in our balancing sequence that we have, is if you fall out, it doesn't mean you fail and you have to like start back from the warming sequence and like start from the beginning or anything like that, or like, well, I give up, I fell, so I'm just going to be done for today. The best part is we get to keep trying. So if you fall out of a pose and you want to explore a few more breaths in that pose or spend some more time there, then just get back into the pose. There are a lot of great different ways to modify the poses as well. So sometimes if like in tree pose, having your hands above your head, or in diver's pose, having your hands out to the side, some different poses have different ways that you can help basically find that balance. So a lot of times bringing your hands to heart center and maybe even pressing those hands together can help you really feel that balance. In divers, if your hands are out to the side, that can kind of help counterbalance. And it's not cheating if you have to touch the floor or the wall. It's totally okay if you're touching the wall and working on your balance, like, having your whole hand on the wall and then maybe taking the hand off the wall for a second, feeling wobbly, breathing through it, about to fall, then put your hand back on the wall. It's a practice. That's the point. And the more that we practice balance, the better it gets. And the more we can get in tune with kind of finding that inner balance.
Yeah, I love the this idea in yoga of Sthira Sukha, which means equal effort and ease. And in Baptiste yoga, we say, don't try hard, try easy, which is like, sure, whatever that means. But I think so often when we're working on balancing, we're struggling to stay instead of letting go and just being within our body. So like the harder we try, the more we struggle and fight instead of just like breathing and being in our foundation. So I know that helps me to just like start with the foundation, the physical foundation of the pose. So if I'm feeling wobbly, just pressing down into the four corners of my feet, whatever, or my foot, if it's a grounded foot, or if it's a hand balance, or, if I'm kneeling to modify, like really drawing my attention to whatever it is that is being supported by the earth, and pressing down, or just like imagining that you're pressing down, right? Creates a sense of stability and rebounds back up into your body. So I think that that's one thing that you can focus on. Like if you find that you keep falling out and you're getting annoyed, first letting go of the I am annoyed, I suck story. And then second, just starting at the ground, starting at the foundation of your pose. So just, I find that in tree pose, especially if I'm like, the harder I try, the worse it gets. So
And from there, rooting down and feeling really grounded in the floor, then you can bring kind of that center into your very core. And so, like, bracing the core, honestly, is going to help a ton as well. So, bringing up that core stability, and then focusing your drishti, or your gaze, on one unmoving point. That's going to be pretty crucial too, because if you're starting to fall, you might be looking all over everywhere and losing your focus on just the breath, feeling grounded, and then that one spot. And so, picking that one unmoving thing can really help too. And then centering the breath, centering the mind, calming it all down.
Yeah, and especially like once we get back into yoga practices in a class, if you're in a class with people, you can see like out of your peripheral, people are, you know, doing these types of things, and it's sort of like really zone in on your practice and like try not to fix your gaze on the back of the person's head in front of you, but rather an unmoving point. That can, that can be troublesome, but yeah. And back to this idea of stira sukha too, I think like if you're struggling to maybe in tree, for example, like some days, awesome, the sole of my foot is up on my thigh and great, and I'm rocking tree. And other days, like I just need the stillness and reduce the work. And maybe I'm just in a kickstand with my foot against my ankle or my calf, because going back to like this idea of bringing equal effort and ease. And if your whole practice is you struggling and fighting, you're not going to get to that space of like stillness and calm. So just keeping in mind, again, like we've said this for, I think, the duration of this experience so far, and throughout our practices too, like there's no wrong way to yoga. There's no wrong shape of tree. There's no wrong shape of half moon or, you know, diver or any of the poses in our sequence this week. And so, you know, if you're feeling wobbly and you're feeling wobbly off the mat too, like maybe it's just, you know, genie arms for eagle instead of trying to twist yourself into a pretzel and your shoulders tight and whatever. You know, but just finding that stillness and that calmness and that bringing the ease at every opportunity into your practice. Anything else?
Let's see. So what I will say is keep an eye on your joints, because sometimes in tree, if you can't quite get your foot all the way up to the inner thigh, it might end up resting on the knee, and then you're pressing out on the knee joint, and that would really hurt. So make sure that you're pressing either on the thigh or the calf, so not pushing on the knee. And then for dancer's pose, trying to keep the hips more square towards the floor instead of like opening up to the side. So just being aware of like your center and that balance.
And you can always bring a chair into the equation. So, you know, and this could really be even in airplane pose, in diver pose, really any pose. If you want to, I know you mentioned Christy using a wall, but you can also bring a chair in and use that to stabilize you. And, you know, like we said, like there's no better than or less than idea of a pose or shape of a pose. It's just whatever's right for you. And every day can
Fun
be,
with it too.
yeah, be at play. I think as adults, we're like, oh, I can't laugh. I can't have fun. This is, everything's so serious.
I have to do this practice and I have to do this. It's like, if you want to goof off and like do tree pose like 4 times, awesome. Like, and then do dancers 4 times, like twice on each side, or, you know, whatever, like have fun with it. And if you fall and you feel like laughing, then go for it. And that's fine.
So I wanted to just check in with anybody. Does anybody have any questions about this week's sequence, or maybe last week's sequence, or how everything's coming together? Or any thoughts, feelings on how your daily practice is going? Anybody? Bueller. KC, I see you're new. Awesome. Well, I'm so glad you joined us. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or to Christy. And the downloadable sequences are all on our website. So the practice calendar, and just start where you're at. You know, you could start on day 1 and start your 31 days today if today's your first day, or you can start where we're at right now, which is the first day of our balancing sequence. So yeah, whatever feels right for you, but we're here, and all of them have been recorded, sorry, and they're on our YouTube channel, so you can access them there. Go ahead, Valeria, what's up?
I have a question, Christy. It's about breathing. When you're doing your exercising, I don't know if it's this, you have a Midwestern accent, and I'm hearing breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. Okay, I wasn't sure. I thought it was in through your nose and out through your mouth, but it is in and out nose.
Yes, yep, in and out through the nose. I guess my Minnesota's showing, so.
My husband, I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to get, yeah, my husband's from Minnesota. He's from Minneapolis.
Oh yeah, fun. Very cool. Yeah, so it's breathing in and out through the nose as much as you can. So, you know, I've been to yoga class before feeling a little stuffy, and it's like, you know, you can't breathe. So, you know, do what you can, sort of thing. But if you can, breathing in and out through the nose, and then, yeah, kind of letting that be your guide through the poses.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Another concept of that in and out of the nose, it's called Ujay Breath. It means the breath of victory. And what it does as well is when we start breathing in and out of our mouth, it tells our body that we're getting ready for like activation, like fight or flight. And so if we can keep our breath within, and it really builds, like in power yoga, it builds heat within the body. So if you imagine like a tea kettle, and you haven't taken the lid off, and it's building heat, it allows you to kind of like really warm up the body from an internal way, not just externally. So there's two reasons why we use that breath at least in power yoga. I know there's tons of different, like what's called pranayama, which is just the types of breathing that we do in yoga, that you can study and just do on your own, stress relief types. We did some in our Namaste videos last year. So if you didn't get a chance to watch those, you can check those out on our YouTube channel too.
I use the Ujay Breath since we were talking about balance, it made me think, if I'm unbalanced, it's very often because my brain is thinking about other things. And so if I come back to that Ujay Breath, it helps me to clear my mind also and find that focus to help me find my balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any thoughts on, hey Joe, what do you think about breathing? What are you teaching breathing wise in aero yoga? Acro yoga? Is it called aero yoga?
Aerial yoga.
Yeah. What type?
It's the same thing. You just when you move though, you got to think about it so you don't hold your breath as you're going into positions, because it's a lot to think through. You do spins and everything like that, especially when you're upside down.
Yeah. Remembering to breathe, it's such a key part. Like we laugh, but if we find ourselves holding our breath during the day, it's probably because we're focused on something stressful, or, you know, and then if you check in with your body, you notice, oh man, like what am I doing with my shoulders, and my stomach's in a knot, and I'm clenching my teeth or whatever. Like our breath is so connected to the rest of our system. I don't think the email went out yet, but since we're talking about breath, there's a theory called the Polyvagal Theory. I don't know if you guys have heard of this before, but there's like this vagus nerve that runs throughout our body that is really connected to our limbic system and our reptilian fight or flight brain. And there's like different breathing techniques that can really activate that. It's almost like tapping the brakes on a car. So you're tapping the brakes on your nervous system to tell it, hey, I'm safe, I'm here, I'm safe, I'm okay. I don't need to fight, fly, run away, you freeze, whatever. Like you can stay calm and centered, and reset your whole nervous system by breathing properly through, and letting your belly pull in and really activate that nerve that runs along the line here. So if you guys are interested in anything about that, there's going to be one of the emails this week. We'll have a link to an article, and United We Om, who are friends of ours here at Team RDBB. They did a great workshop on the polyvagal theory, but I'm sure you can find books and all types of stuff on it. But another reason why breathing is so important, both on and off the mat.
So is laughter. I call aerial yoga hanging by bed sheets.
Yes. That's awesome. Cool. Any other questions? How's everybody's bodies feeling? A little sore or feeling good? I know we're like day 17, so that's a lot. Is everybody just doing yoga, or Kimmy, I know you're doing the running also.
Yeah, I'm doing the running with the two daughters that were home.
Uh-huh.
And so one of them sent me a picture today because they're at college now that I did my run. So.
And how are you feeling? Like, are you noticing your yoga practice impacting your running at all? Like, is it helping you stay loose or recover from your run?
So I've run in the past. I'm kind of on and off with the running.
Mm-hmm.
I ran quite a bit around when I turned 40 to I'm going to get back in shape. And then I started getting like hip issues and things like that. So when I was 45, I started with the yoga. And so I know that yoga really allows me to keep on running, like especially with like pigeon pose, any of the hip kind of stretches. I had started to almost get like a plantar fasciitis, but not full on. And then even like, what's it called? The hero's pose with the toes tucked. That really strengthened the bottom of my feet. That was so difficult at first. I couldn't even hold it for 10 seconds. And now I can hold it for a minute or as long as I need to. So yoga has really helped me be able to keep on running. I'm not super fast anymore, but awesome. I know when to stop and when to slow down and when to stretch it out and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. That's great. Anybody else finding their practice impacting other kind of areas of their fitness routine, or want to share some positive kind of impacts from practice so far?
I think having the challenge, especially since my schedule was kind of off with the kids home, they were short little clips, and with the daily reminders, it just helped me keep it going. And since I wasn't on like a regular routine.
Right. Yeah.
So that was helpful. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Well, I find one thing that yoga has taught me is just how to stretch, how to fully relax into a stretch, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Great.
Hey, this is Casey. Sorry, guys, I'm actually trying to do the stretches in between while I'm listening in on your session, but I'm in the same way too. I'm using it to help with the running because I've been struggling a little bit, and then a lot of the sitting during the workday has really negatively impacted. I know, like my hamstrings and basically the lower half of my body has been struggling. So I've been keeping the running going. I'm not a great runner either. I generally run like an 11-minute mile, keeping that pace. But one of the things I'm using the yoga practice for is to help with compensating for the pain, because mine's is usually in the hamstrings and the upper to lower back area.
Yeah, so a lot of the forward folds are probably going to be great, and down dogs are great for those hamstrings and loosening up. Also, like your calves, which can cause the plantar fasciitis as well. So, awesome.
Yeah, actually, I was in down dog actually as you guys were talking. So, and then also doing a little bit of the cat's pose too while I've been trying to loosen it out.
Yeah.
To make a recording of the flow. It's the one we did yesterday. It has like a lot of hip and hamstring and like the middle of the back, and just like really good for stretching out where typically runners get sore. So yeah, it'll be I tried to record it yesterday, but the record button wouldn't work for me, so I'll try it again.
I also find like the teleworking has been brutal. So that's the I've been, basically, ass and seat pretty much like a good solid now 6 hours,
Yeah.
versus a normal maybe, half of that if you're actually in the office.
Yeah. Yeah. What I just actually, it was during take flight last year, or quarantine pressure last year, I think. Just like having a hard stop to take a walk, and it seems silly, but I never did it before. And when I worked in the office, I would get up and go to the bathroom or go get coffee or whatever. But working from home, you just find, like you're saying, you just aren't aware that you have not moved, literally have not moved for 6-7 hours. So some chair yoga too is great, because you can do it at home. Nobody's going to look at you sideways, which we have some recordings on there too, Casey, if you are interested. It's like a 5-minute break to be able to kind of just move around a little.
So I will share that, like, while I haven't been necessarily staying on the sequences, I have been pulling actually the YouTube videos, to kind of help with, so I've been doing it intermittently, but so I should probably do it more consistently, but it's a little, I also have kids too, so it's been a little challenge there too.
Well, you're making it work for you, which is like the most important piece, right? If you try to retrofit someone else's idea or plan into your life and it doesn't work for you, you're not going to stick with it. So cool. We've got a couple minutes before we start our restorative class. Christy, any parting thoughts for folks for this week or just in general?
In general, just keep it up. Do what you can. So if the sequence is getting too long, then just shorten it. Or if you feel like hanging out in a pose longer, do that. The point is to have fun and to, make it work for you. And if you miss a day, if you miss a week, no problem. Just roll out the mat again and hop back to it. That's not, the end of the world if you miss a day or if you skip a pose or whatever. It's no big deal. Just have fun and enjoy.
What Helen's cat said.
That's certainly a namaste. Yeah, a meow-mastay, I think.
Well, it was so great to see all you guys tonight, and for everybody maybe watching this tomorrow, thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s Day, and also our National Day of Service. So we've got a couple of ideas for how you can serve in your local community, obviously safely within guidelines, on the TMRWB app. So I definitely encourage you guys to check that out if you have a chance. And we'll see you on one of our practices hopefully this week. We'll start tomorrow at 7 a.m. But we have restorative right now, so we will same link, so we're not going to switch anywhere. We can just hang out right here. But for everybody at home, see you later.